Hello and welcome to round 4 of the 2017 Porsche Carrera Cup Australia Series, presented by V8's Online in glorious high definition and made possible by KRF Motorsports. We're here tonight at the Watkins Glen boot configuration. My name's Jake Burton and alongside me tonight is my co-commentator Sam Sutton. How are you tonight, mate?
Yeah, good, Jake. Good to have you back in the comms box, unlike last week where you sounded a bit funny and decided not to join us. But yeah, Watkins Glen tonight. It'll be an interesting track. The drive in this car is quite not strong, but it's very efficient, so it'll be interesting to see how it all cracks out tonight.
I think I did all the viewers a favour by not letting them hear me last week, but yeah, Watkins Glen, always a great one for racing. It's good to see that we're actually running the boot configuration. A lot of major series in Australia anyway normally uses the Cup version or the Classic, and we don't get to see that awesome back section actually used, so it's in the whole track tonight, which is good.
Yeah, I personally think if you add the boot section of the track, it actually makes it a racetrack, otherwise it's just a bit of a right-handed oval. We have got about 5 minutes left in warm-up, and then we'll see the grid for tonight. Strong field as well. Jared Filsaw, Josh Muggleton, of course, in here. The TTL guys. We're actually seeing Greg Stewart come out of hiatus and is in behind the wheel tonight.
Yeah, of course, we are going to see a couple of guys probably not make it to the grid who we normally have. Obviously, the Australian Grand Prix having just been gone in Melbourne. I know a lot of guys were down watching that, so going to be a slightly reduced field tonight. But of course, as you mentioned, we still got plenty of front-running guys. And Watkins Glen, as you said earlier, a track where you can really stay in it with the draft, even if you're sort of a couple tenths down on pace. So expect to see sort of a pack racing style of racing tonight. All the guys should be able to stay nice and bunched up and not break away like usual.
Yeah, it might be a bit different with the boot section being added, but definitely that first half of the lap, and we're going to have to watch up through the S's because this Porsche is very susceptible to aero understeer. So up through the S's, it's going to be interesting. We might see some guys meet the outside fence at a rapid rate of knots.
That's right, Sam, and obviously the good thing about the boot section is it does provide us a lot more passing. Obviously, pretty much every corner in the boot section you can use as a passing zone, whereas on the Classic or the Cup versions, you've got pretty much just corners you've got to throw it in there and hope that the other guy gives you room because they're so fast on entry.
Yeah, you've got sort of, the toe of the boot and the heel of the boot when you look at the track map. So the toe's that sort of uphill right-hander, and then the heel is before you come on to where you would normally join the Classic section. They're probably the best two spots to pass on the boot alone, and then of course you've got turn 1 and the carousel, which is it's reprofiled the exit when you do the boot section, so it makes it a little bit easier to sort of throw it in there and run them a bit high.
Yeah, the toe section's quite good for passing because once you're down there, there's sort of one lane in that corner and the inside lane's really cambered, but then beyond that it sort of goes off camber, so the guy on the outside doesn't really have much room left to fight, so you can't really get the run. But we'll run through some of the details of tonight's race. In terms of weather, we've got a 37-degree track temperature at the moment with about an 11 km/h southwesterly, and 25 laps around here at Watkins Glen, so we should be going for our typical sort of about 50-minute race, 45-minute race.
Yeah, looking at some of the warm-up times, it's a bit fastest is a 1 minute 50 from Josh Muggleton, so yeah, looking at about 50 minutes or so for the race tonight. No pit stops as well, I believe, full tanks available.
Yeah, so an all-out sprint race for these guys. Muggo and Filsaw looking to be the fastest, as you just mentioned, in terms of warm-up times. It'll be a couple minutes until we get to see how everyone actually qualified, but I would not be surprised if it was Filsaw on pole.
Yeah, or even off the last round we saw, which was 2 weeks ago, Muggleton has got a fair bit of pace as well relative to his teammates, so we might see him up there. Of course, Michael Healy as well. We expect to see a bit of pace out of him. New TTR recruit, Louise Paul O'Gallen, I've just seen join the server as well.
Lewis has come out for a play, which is quite cool, but if you want to quickly talk about championship, Sam, I believe after the last round it was Josh Rogers still leading it, and of course was it?
No, Tim Harris is leading the points. Josh Rogers is second. Josh, of course, had a pretty poor round last round, sorry, at Road America. I'm just bringing up the points.
Well, nonetheless, Rogers actually hasn't made it out tonight to have a steer, so he will be using this pretty much as a drop round, and Tim Harris is out there, currently 7th in warm-up, so he'll be looking to extend that lead and make advantage of the fact that Rogers isn't here.
Yeah, so just looking at the points, it's Tim Harris, Josh Rogers, Ben Dow, Jared Philsell, Michael Healy, the top 5. Philsell's been hurt badly with penalty points, losing 115 points because of that, and he's behind the leader by 65 points. So he'd be well and truly in the lead of the championship if he didn't have all those penalty points. And that's Corey Slade, Brett Cananzi, Gary Hamilton, Cameron Dance, and Stuart Hall rounding out the top 10 in points after 3 rounds.
There's no Ben Dow tonight either, so a couple of guys missing out. So this is going to be one of those rounds that's pretty important for the guys that do actually get to race. Make sure they make the most of this one. So we're now looking at the grids. They've come up for us. So Josh Muggleton has actually got pole over Jared Philsell with a 149.6. Not sure the lap time for Jared Philsell. It's actually not coming up on my screen. But then third, Gary Hamilton on a 50.1, Darren Marsh for TTL in 4th, and Brett Cananzi rounding out the 5.
And it's Farrell Ritchie's, Michael Healy, Dane Warren, Tim Harris, our championship leader, and Jay Boving rounding out the 10. No spools back there. You got Stuart Hall, Louise Gallen, 11th and 12th, 13, 14, Bence, Myers, Greg Stewart rounding out the 15.
Yep, and seeing Tim Ballinger, Gene Fiddy's back in 28th and 30th. They were a bit further up last week, but we're going to be seeing the lights come up in the next 10 seconds or so. The guys are all gridded up. The revs starting to climb. And they are green, and we're away and racing. Good start up the front from Jared Philsell on the outside of Josh Muggleton. He's going to have track position, but not the inside line into 1. Muggo breaks early and is going to harry the inside, but it's going to be too wide up towards the S's, just behind Gary Hamilton, looking to slot in. Looks clean throughout the field.
Still too wide through the entry of the S's. Looks like Philsell's going to have the upper hand, but no, he's going to have it on the inside now. Muggleton's got a hold there.
Oh, that is
well done from Muggleton. Bus stop coming up there. Back into single file now.
These guys have got to be careful coming to this chicane. It can be a bit awkward. Darren Marsh with a bit of a wall of cars in front of him. And they're all single file again.
Everyone looks to have got through there cleanly so far.
And now we head down into this boot section we were talking about earlier. Not many of the guys in this top sort of 10 or so able to make moves just yet. A little bit of a lunch with Dame Warren on Vale Ritchie's, but didn't really do anything with it. He's being chased by Tim Harris, our championship leader. They make the way up this this cambered hill section here.
So through the toe of the boot, running out towards the heel. Sorry. I'll get that word out eventually.
This heel section of this of the boot here is actually a lot slower than what you think. It's quite a tight corner. It doesn't look it when you're approaching.
Oh, I've just heard a shunt in the background.
See if we can look back.
Stuart Hall. Stuart Hall's around at the inside of the outside of the heel. See who he's had an incident with. Yeah, number 27, Cameron Dance. Dance gone on the inside, hit the curb and just collected Stuart there, and looks like everyone's got away with it relatively clean. They both sort of parted ways on the middle of the road, and everyone's filed through. We've actually got another car around, like that was Tim Ballinger as well, just exiting the boot section.
The curbs around here, especially in that section of the track, Sam, are very brutal. They're not that high, but they're really, really steep and sharp. So if you hit them, they can have that effect on the car. But just looking out towards the front now, Philsell and Muggleton have pulled about a 1 second gap back to Gary Hamilton, and then about half a second back to Darren Marsh. So has split up a little bit more than what we thought it would.
You still got that train falling behind Gary. I think we expected those two TTR cars to sort of clear out a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if Darren can clear Gary here and see what he can do. We all know Darren's pedigree. He just hasn't quite converted yet. Getting used to the Porsche like a lot of people are.
Big shout out to Lewis Gallen, who's actually out, as we mentioned earlier, on debut in the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia Series. Has actually moved up 2 positions on the opening lap, so he's now looking to chase down Tim Harris and that pack in front.
Yeah, Tim Harris has got a windscreen full of Dane Warren, who's having a look on Vale Ritchie's, who's got a bit loose off the toe of the boot. Warren's going to look to the inside now into the heel.
He's got the inside well braked by Dane Warren, sorry.
Vale's going to hold the outside. If he can keep his nose there, he's going to have it for the exit of the boot. This is very much a one-line corner. You can't hold the high line.
Oh, can you? Not quite.
No, you do.
Oh,
you lose
there.
a fair bit of. Generally, you lose a bit of ground on exit. I'd expect as the track rubbers up, it'll get quite dirty out there, and you won't be able to do that. Thankfully, it's early on in the race, and you got away with it.
Yeah, it's really easy to also have a lunge into the last corner here, but it sort of is an awkward corner because if you have a lunge, it gets tight really quickly. But Tim Harris, now those two have sorted themselves out, is going to have a look to the inside of Warren, but Warren chases the inside line a little bit. Oh,
Warren
loose.
looks like he's.
Oh.
Louise, I've just seen Louise pop in the background as well.
Yeah, what's happened there is Dane Warren's got sideways and Tim Harris has got on the brakes to avoid him, and just Lewis had nowhere to go. That's rotated our championship leader. So you take a look at the replay.
Yeah, he's just got a bit of rear end damage, nothing too severe. He's dropped in around Aaron Osborne in 17th.
And now Lewis is now taking a look. Brady Myers. Brady Myers must have made a few positions out of that little complication.
Yeah, he probably made about 2 or so because he's in front of Louise now, and yeah, he's probably in I think he's 9th position now. But Vale's still got a mirror full of Dane. I think Dane's got the pace to get past him at the moment, just hasn't been able to get it done yet.
Yeah, Dane Warren, he's sitting P8, which is still quite good, but compared to some of the pace you've seen over the last couple of rounds where Dane Warren's really been up there in that sort of top 3, top 5, I'm sure he wants to push forward a little bit more.
Yeah, he's had great pace recently in everything he's driven pretty much, and the Porsche's what sort of put him on the radar, and I think that's what ASM signed him off. But in the V8 we saw at Montreal, had some great pace, just got caught up in the Turn 1 incident. He's doing good tonight. He hasn't quite had a run of it so far. Had the incident at Road America, where I think he ran out of fuel. Spa ran out of fuel, and Road America he had a bit of a shunt.
Yeah, he's been up there all the time though, just hasn't had the result come, but looking fairly pacey now. If I just taking a look at the leaders last lap by, there's nothing in it between Josh Muggleton and Jared Filsell. 50.64 and a 50.59 from Filsell, so Filsell's keeping him honest.
Yeah, we saw this at Road America as well. Muggleton sort of did all the hard work at the start of the race. Filsell took over and then stayed there till the end. Just hearing Dave Jellings has spun. He was back down in 14th position. He's had a spin at turn 1.
Has recovered though.
Just see if he was assisted or not. No, there's a bit of a self-spin there.
Just turn 1 at Watkins Glen's a really tough corner because it's so cambered and you can throw it in there so deep, but if you pick up the throttle at the wrong time, it just tends to rotate on you.
Even the drop into the corner, if you throw it in too hard, you do over-rotate, and I think that's what he's done there. Because it's a corner where you can use a lot of that apron, so it encourages you to get on the throttle early.
Just taking a little look back at a bit of a battle going on for P15. Greg Stewart, Aaron Osborne and Matt Morris, these three have been going at it for the last few corners. Nice little close tight battle here, and of course just behind Tim Harris trying to recover from that little rotate at turn 1.
Well, this is Greg's first race in a very, very long time as well. He's bought a Hyper in the last couple of weeks, and that's made him much more comfortable when he's driving the car, and he's decided to jump out and race. And hearing there's a move somewhere. Matt Morris having a dive, I think it was at Aaron Osborne, and nearly pulled it up.
To put it in perspective for our viewers, Greg Stewart, I don't believe has actually done a race since either you or I have been sim racing.
No, he's been out of the seat for a long time. He's from the old Grand Prix Legends days, and back then he was quicker than Gregor Hutu, so if Greg Stewart can get on form, he is a man to watch.
And just if you are watching Gregor, we'd like to see a rematch. Greg versus Gregor.
That'll be a throwback. But back out the front, it's 0.2 of a second now between Muggleton and Filsell. They're sort of slowing each other up now a little bit. They've dipped into the 51s, but so have the guys behind them, so they sort of got away with it. Gap's 1.9 from the lead, so Muggleton back to Gary Hamilton, who's then got a second back to Darren Marsh.
Yeah, I think Fuel Cell is maybe being held up a little bit by Muggo at the moment. Fuel Cell's really mastered conserving the tyres on this Porsche 911, so just seems he's got a little bit more pace over Muggo at the moment, not washing as wide in the corners, keeping a little bit narrower, just not wanting to make a move just yet and lose too much time. Looking back to that battle we were talking about earlier, Tim Harris is trying to get through this pack after his spin earlier. Just a wall of cars.
It is hard when you're the sort of the rear car in the train. I think he's got a bit of straight line speed damage, but you can't throw it in as deep because you know if you go slightly too far into the corner, you might collect the guy in front of who you're passing. So when you're in this sort of train, you've kind of got to just find a spot. As I say that though, Aaron Osborne gets very loose on the exit of the hill, and that gives Matt Morris the opening. He shoves the car in there.
Tim Harris probably could have capitalised a little there, but he actually lunged in a little bit deep himself. But Watkins Glen's one of those tough tracks, Sam. I've always struggled here because it's one of those tracks that's really, really hard to find time. That's where you're going to see some of the less experienced but fast guys like Dane Warren. That's why you see him a little bit further down the pack tonight. It is a really hard track to actually have a pace advantage.
Yeah, as much as it's very much a rhythm section, a rhythm track, sorry, you've just got to hitch. Oh, I say that, Aaron Osborne's gone around and he's been absolutely centre punched by Matt Morris, who's then flipped him. And I think Tim Harris has copied a bit of damage as well, but Tim's gained 2 positions there.
I'd say a fairly big accident. We'll see if we can get a replay, as Sam said. Aaron Osborne just getting a little bit loose on throttle application there and then having to lock it down and just getting smacked by Matt Morris and put on his lid.
I think Lee Ellis was hiding in that curb somewhere, that's why he flipped. Oz, we've got a car off the road as well. It's Louise is involved as well as Brady Myers on the exit of the bus stop. That was very awkward. Brady's still quite slow on the inside of the carousel. I think he's got a bit of damage.
Yeah, I think that was a bit ambitious by Lewis there. He's actually tried to go too wide.
Brady spun again. And he's collected a couple of cars there.
Oh, wow.
I think it was Christian Hinton and maybe Simon Black he got.
Yeah, a couple of big accidents in the last minute or so of racing. Yeah, that's definitely going to split up our field.
Minute.
I'm just looking at Brady Myers. That thing is not tracking straight at all. Pulling hard left. He'll be trying to get that back to pit lane without a doubt.
He should probably just escape, to be honest.
As for Lewis, who was involved in that as well, his car's tracking straight, but it does look a little bit bent. He's just behind Matt Morris. So let's take a look at the victims of that as everyone crosses over the timing strip. It's promoted Jay Boving up to 9th. It's going to put Jason Bentz up to 10th, Michael Hammond up to 11th, and pretty much promote that pack we saw earlier. Greg Stewart up to 12th.
Yeah, Tim Harris, Matt Morris as well, up to 13th and 14th. Louise is trying to get that spot back on Matt Morris. Had a real big lunge into one, but he's going to be vulnerable to Ryan Harris now. He's got the better run up through the S's.
Yeah, Lewis obviously Western Australian, just been signed with TTR from Brazil. Absolutely loved sim racing. He's one of those guys who's got quick really, really quickly.
Oh, here there's a crash at the bus stop. Who's involved in that one?
Track's clear now, so not sure who it was.
Director might be telling us some fibs here. So our director's going to get a replay because Jake and I couldn't see anything there. Our director, being eagle-eyed Jay Kennedy there, did spot it. And so we're hearing Stuart Hall and Gary Dawkins. So yeah, and actually just looking at their cars now, Gary's not in the greatest of shape. Every panel on that car is pretty much bent.
Take a look back up to the front. Jared Philsell last time by actually. Oh, I don't know if we saw that on camera. Josh Muggleton right out sideways out of the last corner. Last lap by pulled 2/10 on Philsell, but now Philsell's pulled it back. So these guys rubber banding a little bit.
Yeah, they got about half a second over Hamilton and Marsh. Marsh was actually 2 tenths quicker than Hamilton on the last lap, so see if that trend continues.
The thing is you look at Gary Hamilton, and he is only 3.5 seconds behind, but being Watkins, Glen, and having such a high top speed, he's actually distance-wise so far back.
Yeah, Watkins, Glen's a sort of track where half a second will feel like a second just because of the speeds and how difficult it is to actually gain ground. You've really got to wait for them to make a mistake or get adventurous with your lines to find any sort of time.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll take a look at some of the closer battles on the track. I think our director might have pointed out Tim Harris and Greg Stewart. These two, obviously Tim still trying to recover, and Greg, I think, maybe just trying to get through without any victim scars.
Yeah, they've got the laser racing pairing of Michael Hammond and Jason Benz up in front as Michael Hammond locks the fronts and goes wide, entering the boot.
That was a big lock-up. Plenty of smoke there. But Greg Stewart runs a little bit wide through the toe, and that's going to
Harris has been
allow...
able to just drive underneath him off the exit there.
He doesn't have an overlap, but he should be able to outbrake Greg, I think. Not quite. He's got enough of an overlap. Greg gives him plenty of racing room, and that's going to be move done for Tim Harris.
So now, see if Greg uses Tim as sort of a battering ram to get through the guys in front, because I think Tim can just pull him along if Greg can stick around in that draft and just get towed along the straights. Not destroy those fronts too much. He'll be in for a few spots here.
Yeah, I think the thing is Greg's been smart and not been involved in too many crashes, and that sort of has meant that all the guys around him, like the two cars behind him, for example, Matt Morris and Lewis, they're both slightly quicker, but of course have been in accidents, so don't have the track position.
Yeah, he's still got... So Matt Morris is in behind Greg at the moment. Louise has sort of dropped off the back of Matt from where we last saw him.
Oh, car in the... Oh!
Oh, Jason Benz is in the
Almost.
fence, entering the S's. It's an awkward spot to be, going slowly.
That was one of the biggest near catches I've ever seen. Let's see if we can get a replay. He was right out wide out of turn one, got sideways, nearly stuck it in the fence, just missed it, and then just nipped the fence to get it straightened back out. A good bit of driving there from Jason Benz to keep it out of the wall or someone else.
No, he's hit the bump as well when he's sort of regained it, and it's then put him in the fence on the entry of the S's. So he has kissed the fence with the right-hand side of the car.
Could have been much worse, though.
It could have been a lot
bit of
worse,
driving
but
there.
yeah.
But I think Greg Stewart was maybe spooked a little bit by it, got on the brakes, and that's allowed Matt Morris to catch back up. But we're looking back up to Dane Warren, Healy, and Boving. It looks like Healy maybe made a mistake last time by, and that's allowed Ritchies and Warren to get by.
Yeah, he's dropped in between Warren and Boving now, has Michael Healy.
Just looking at Healy's pace, he's been very consistent. So whatever he did that lap, I'm not entirely sure. He must have made a bit of an error.
Yeah, we'll see what his lap time is when he crosses the stripe.
All of his laps, pretty much for the last 6 laps, have been within 2 tenths. So he's
I'm just gone back through the replay here, Jake, and he's gone off at the bus stop. So he's gone straight ahead in the first part. He's actually had to catch a slide because he's very nearly going to park it in the fence. So he's had to catch a slide and he's lost a few spots.
156 last time by, so yep, definitely shows that mistake. So he's lost about 5 seconds out of that. In terms of our front runners, though, still 3 tenths, still absolutely nothing in it.
Looking at Greg Stewart, Matt Morris again, 12th and 13th. Greg sort of lost a bit of the gap he had when he went to avoid Bence, because at the point where he sort of caught up to Jason Bence, it was in that unpredictable spot of, is this car in control or not?
We should point out as well, we've still got about 15 or 16 laps to go. Still a fair bit of racing left to do for these guys.
Yeah, 25 laps doesn't sound like a lot, and at the classic circuit it's not a lot, but around the boot it adds probably a solid 50 seconds to the lap. Almost doubles its length.
It also puts a lot more focus on sort of driving. Oh, I don't know, not sure if we were still looking at that, but Matt Morris nearly tipping the back of Greg Stewart there. Very, very close, but as I was saying, the boot section definitely adds, I think, a lot more priority on the driver rather than just the racecraft. I think, as you said earlier, it's more of a super speedway, the classic version, so a lot more focus is on the driver rather than just, you know, where you position your car and whatnot.
Yeah, the classic circuit can become a bit of a defensive driving lesson when it becomes the draft fest, but I think the boot makes it more of a technical track and throws in a few more passing opportunities, makes it more of a racetrack than an oval. And Louise has actually got a fair bit of pace over these guys at the moment, and he's using this, what is that mistake from Matt Morris in that battle, to actually gain a lot of time in this last sector.
Yeah,
that CTR car looks very good.
Lewis is all over the back of Matt Morris, so he'll probably be wanting to make a move down into turn 1 here. Lewis shows a little bit of a nose on the run down the straight. Not quite. Morris goes
Matt
deep.
was deeper under brakes.
Lewis!
Lewis is gone. He's around.
Yeah, he's just been a little bit offline, and when he's got on the brakes, he's tried to...
He's gone to the pit entry though as well. He's nearly hit the pit wall.
Yeah, Lewis has done a lot of racing in GT3 cars, and I know when he's tried cars like this in the V8 in the past, braking has been one of the things he's sort of struggled with, so obviously still getting used to that. Good driving to not hit Matt though.
Yeah, he comes from the GT3 background, so he's used to the probably the assists. He's looking at Jason Bentz, Ryan E.B. Harrison, Ashley Lear. Bentz probably dealing with a bit of damage from when he had that hit clip with the wall. Under immense pressure from Harris. He's wide entering the boot, but so is Harris. Harris gets a better drive. They look for a move here into the toe.
Probably not the best place to have a lunge though. He's close, but not quite this time. He's going to get a much narrower exit. Might take a look up towards the heel.
Probably not close enough though. Probably about a car length and a half. He can just try and consolidate through the rest of this lap and have a lunge into one, because I think Bentz is down on some straight line speed.
Yeah, you can see Bentz is actually squaring off the corners quite nicely. His apex speed isn't great, but his exit speed's good, which is making it a little bit difficult for Ryan to get a run.
He's got a train forming behind these guys as well, with Jared Timon leading that. You got Paul Metzeline behind him and a bit of a gap to Simon Black. So this is sort of the Wounded Warriors section of the racetrack as well. A lot of these guys are beaten and battered.
And Jason Bentz actually pulled out a little bit towards the end of that lap. So not going to be any move into turn 1. But I was wondering if we could focus on our leaders. Haven't got much attention so far in this race, but Jared Filsell's now right on the bumper of Josh Muggleton.
Yeah, there's not a lot between them at the moment.
Muggo seemingly with a little bit of internet dramas as well, which would have put Jared off a bit. These guys have literally been within half a second of each other all race.
We saw that last round as well, where Muggleton was able to defend a little bit at the start. Then I think around half distance, Phil Sell decided he had enough and took the lead, and that's sort of where it stayed. But we're close to halfway now. We're on lap 12 of 25.
Yeah, I think honestly Phil Sell will probably just sit there until the last 5 laps. He knows he's got a pace advantage, and he knows that Gary Hamilton isn't really a factor unless they battle. I know last time they started battling and cars behind did start to reel them in. So,
but if he waits too long, does he have the pace advantage? Because a lot of front end aero dependency around this place, and sitting in there for 20 odd laps is going to destroy those front tyres. So I don't think sitting there is the smartest idea. If you think you've got pace, use advantage, because track position at the end of the day is king.
I personally don't think that Jared's actually pushing as hard as he can though. I think he's only at 90%. I think Muggo maybe has probably worn the tyres out a little bit much, and Jared's sort of just sitting there. So yeah, you're
he may not be pushing though. He may not be pushing, but he's still using the tyre sitting in there. Up to the S's, he'll have to use more wheel to get the car pointed where he wants to. Same at the bus stop and the carousel. So he may not be pushing as hard, but he's going to be working the car harder to get where he wants to be.
True. Well, we'll see what happens, but needless to say, these two are very, very close at the moment. But if we look back Battle for P3 is actually starting to close up a little bit.
It extended on the last lap. It was down to about 7/10. Now it's back out to around about 1.3 seconds.
Where is our closest battle on track? I think Tim Harris and Michael Hammond. Maybe? Oh, yeah.
Jason Bentz, Ryan Harris still 14th and 15th position. They've actually sort of dropped Ashley Lear off the back of this one as well.
Ryan's looking good now. He's going to go to the outside. Then going to get a nice run off. He might be able to do something into the toe. He's going to have to make it deep.
Look. Bentz gives him room.
It's going to be a bit of a drag race up to the hill.
Bentz in the grass. Oh, I'm trying to mow the lawn. It's not the fastest way to do it.
Still mowing.
I'm waiting for Bentz to jump on the radio and be not so happy about that move. He usually does that when someone passes him.
Oh, just up in front of him actually. I've just seen Matt Morris and
has had
Greg Stewart.
He's had a massive lunge, yeah.
Oh, to be fair, on the exit there,
he's tried
Greg
the
did
outside. He's tried the outside at the heel. Like, he's had a run to the outside, so Greg's covered him off. Not realising he was there, he's let him on back on the road, and then Matt's thrown up the inside on the dirty stuff.
Yeah, it was a bit ambitious by Matt, but oh, turn one. Oh.
Matt's just throwing it in very deep everywhere now.
It looks like he's just hanging on. Oh, we've had an issue behind.
Bentz is around the exit of one.
Rotated. He's actually tipped the grass on entry, and the car's just. Actually, that's really weird.
It looks like he's. I don't think he's touched the grass, has he?
Nah, just at the apex, the car sort of just disconnected. And
yeah, so he has put a wheel on the dirt, and he's gone to catch the oversteer that it's given him, and then he's just overcorrected, and it's a bit of a lazy spin there.
Great driving by Ashley Lear to chase the tail of that car and not run into him.
And Bentz has actually just gone to the pit lane as well, so he's escaped, and I think he's probably had enough.
Yeah, been in a bit of the wars tonight, but we're going to catch a replay of that one. So that is actually going to split that pack up a little bit. Morris is still a little bit far back, but Ryan Harris now has a bit of freedom.
So we'll stay with Greg and Matt Morris at the moment. These guys still battling pretty hard.
Oh, Morris actually a little bit wide there.
Just looks like Greg's using more of the exit road in the slower stuff. He's getting to the apex, but he's just washing out wider than Matt. Matt's sort of driving it out of the corner a bit shallower, but braking a lot deeper.
Yeah, got to give it to Greg. He's been out of the seat for a while, and although his pace isn't quite what it used to be, still a racer.
Yeah, I think for a while is a severe understatement. He's not seen this seat for about 5 years, I think.
Oh, well, good to see he's still got the passion for it. Actually, a little bit skatey under brakes into turn one there. Matt Morris is going to have a nice little run up the hill, but he's a little bit tight, actually, behind Greg Stewart, and he's not going to be able to carry quite the same speed up the hill.
Yeah, it's probably just that aero understeer. He's feeling the effect of it now. He's been underneath the rear wing of this Porsche for a long time.
Hearing that something's happened a little bit further back in the field with Peter Dean, and he's in the pits, so we're going to see if we can get a replay. Looks like he's blown a motor. Just a random motor going on upshift there. He's just gone to pull third gear and it's just blown up. So
we're looking Brett Cananzi, Vale Ritchie's, this is for 5th. Vale's catching at about 0.3 of a second a lap at the moment. He's actually dropped Dane Warren as well, and Dane, who we saw early in the race, was very much on his tail. He's got actually worried about Michael Healy, does Dane.
Yeah, Healy's a guy who's done a lot of laps in this car, much like Jared, and I think he's pretty much mastered that tyre fall off. I think that's something that comes with laps in this car, and obviously Dane Warren has done a few laps in this car, but he's one of the less experienced guys in this field. So we've noticed he's definitely been one who chews his tyres a little bit more than most.
So Kanazi's actually just sort of brought that gap out to what it was on the last lap.
Yeah, same can be said for our leaders actually. Jared Filsell dropped 2/10 last time, but then just then has actually pulled that back, so... In this battle here with Stewart, Morris and Harris, Harris has actually managed to bring in Morris and is looking really pacey. Last time by half a second faster than Matt Morris, and yeah, Matt was the
Matt Morris has
three.
got the fishing reel out to Ryan Harris.
On the topic of fishing, I'm not going to take the bait, that's alright.
That's alright, I had to throw it out there tonight.
Anyway, Ryan Harris.
But in all seriousness, Ryan Harris has actually caught up to these guys quite quickly. He only passed Spence about 2 laps ago when they were about 2.5 seconds off these guys, and he's absolutely stormed his way up to them.
It looked like while we were bantering that Greg may have made a little bit of an error in the carousel as well, which...
Yeah, it's looking like
weird.
The rear of that TTL Porsche is slightly loose on the entry. It happened again in the toe. He's gone to turn it in and the rear's sort of disconnected, so have to wait and see if that affects him later on. He's sort of a quarter of a car width wide again at the heel.
Just want to comment on something as well, though. I don't know how many of our viewers, or even you, Sam, were racing and iRacing back when Greg last raced, which would have been 2010, 2011 maybe. The tyre model and the way the car's physics worked back then
was
could not
like
be
that,
more
yeah.
different. Like, this would be such a contrast for Greg to drive compared to what it used to be. I remember I used to race the Skip Barbers a lot, and the way that thing's changed over the last few years, and you watch old V8 supercar videos and stuff like that, it's massively different. Would be like an all different sim, as Greg's actually made a big error into one. He's caught it though.
He's just lost 2 spots. Oh, he's hit the bump awkwardly there on the exit. He just lost those 2 spots. When he went deep into one, had to catch the rear. I was actually having a look at this slight freight train that's forming up behind Paul Mansell and Jared Tyreman. So this is from 16th back to about 20th.
A nice little pack back in the field there.
Yeah, so Mansell's defending from Simon Black, and Tyreman's got Hinton in close company, and everyone else is just sort of following and shadowing at the moment.
And I think just behind it actually is Lewis trying to recover from that incident earlier, so he should be able to catch these guys and pull through, although he is dealing with a fair bit of damage on that TTR Porsche.
Simon, he looks like he's actually got a fair bit of pace to burn compared to Mansell. At least through a couple of corners I've seen, he's looked very strong through the bus stop and the carousel. Looks good at the entry of the boot, but he's just lost a little bit of ground now.
Just, oh no, sorry, we saw that. Don't worry.
I've stopped worrying now, Jake, that's all good.
I was just going to comment on the fact that Greg's dropped a couple places, but we did say that at the beginning of the lap, so that's alright.
Jake's got a sudden bout of Alzheimer's.
Mate, I've been a very sick man the last couple of weeks.
You still sound a bit like Kurt Stenberg, so it's alright.
Oh, that's harsh.
Michael Hammond's actually, he's had a spin at turn 1.
Oh,
he's in the middle of the road. Yeah, that's a bit awkward.
It's alright though, he's managed to find a nice little gap as we take a look at the replay.
Yeah, so he's popped in behind Greg Stewart and in between Ashley Liz, so in the 13th position from where he was in 11th.
When we come off the replay, I think it might be a good chance actually right on board with Lewis Paulo Gallon, because he's got some company coming up in front of him. It's going to be awesome to watch him try and come through. The 2 cars directly in front of him, Hall and Hinton, are bump drafting one another.
Which way to go, nobody knows. He actually kind of backed out of that one.
Lewis is
He's going to
committed.
try and get a run.
The problem with Watkins, Glen, if you've got more than one car in front of you, it's just so hard to go anywhere.
Especially when they all fan out on the back straight. Because then you've got to pick a side where you think's going to be better to the bus stop. And if you pick wrong, Simon Black up ahead has locked the brakes and nearly collected Paul Mansell.
This is actually quite a ferocious little battle pack here. Leaving nothing on the table of these guys.
Yeah, so this 4-car pack, we've got Louise in. It's led by Jared Tyman from 18th, then it's Hinton, Hall and Gallen through to 21st. Then you've got David Jellings hanging in the background there, waiting for something to happen.
Also, boys, just noticed, we're going to have a fight for the lead here. Jared Filsell to the outside of Josh Muggleton.
He's got a great run through the S's. Muggleton's on the dirty side of the road as well at the moment. You can see his car kicking out some dirt. Who's going to go deeper on the brakes into the bus stop? Muggleton holds on for now.
Yeah, these two know their teammates. They don't want to take each other out in these incidents. So, smart driving by Filsell there to sort of give Muggo the line.
Now we're just looking at that battle between Time and earlier, and there's been a bit of a shunt. When we flicked off to look at Filsell and Muggleton, Hinton's had a dive exiting the boot, and he's flat out just doored Jared Time.
That is... We'll see if we can get a replay, because that is quite an impressive shunt. Good driving by Stewart and Lewis to get around that. Oh, someone didn't though. Gene Fitties has just had nowhere to go and run directly into the number 19 of Timon.
And he's almost flipped him as well. These Porsches are very susceptible to being flipped if you get a bit of side. Like, if you get T-boned, you're very likely to get launched.
Yeah,
so Muggleton, I'm actually looking at the front now, Jake. Muggleton's looking slightly more ragged. He's getting on curbs where he wasn't normally. He's probably just starting to mirror drive a little bit more than he was previously.
Yeah, they know that we're getting towards the business end of this race, and it's no longer just a freight train. Jared's going to start making these moves. Good speed by Muggleton off the last corner, though. Filsell not able to do a great deal. We've got 6 laps to go. Seems like Jared can hold the pace up the hill here. His line just is a little bit tighter than Muggleton's, and
well, he's using the curb on the first part of the S's to sort of hook the car. Muggleton's very nearly gone right out sideways. This is going to give Filsell a position now.
Yeah, that could be a race losing mistake for Josh Muggleton. He's going to have to give this one up. But we know Muggo's been stronger through the boot section. Filsell got out of the chicane much nicer, but if Muggo can do something down here just to keep with him, it won't be over. But that was a hell of a save.
Like the rears are gone though on Muggleton's Porsche.
Yeah, Filsell needs to extend now.
Yeah, he needs to sort of be around 0.6 of a second before they get to turn 1 as Filsell's actually pushed wide. Both pushed wide at the toe.
Muggo seems to be driving very what us go-karters would call shifter kart style. He's triangling the corner, sort of double apexing it, throwing it in so deep and then trying to find a second apex. A lot like how Josh Rogers drives, and I'm not sure if that's working for him at the moment because it's just unsettling the car at the apex.
Yeah, and it's working. It's going to be working those tyres harder than what Filsell is. So Filsell has looked a lot smoother with the car, which is often not something we would say is associated with Filsell. He's generally known for ragging the car. I think this new tyre model is he's smoothened out his style and he's gotten on top of this tyre wear, and he's actually just probably going to clear out now in these last 5 laps from his teammate.
Yeah, I think this will be the biggest, about 6/10, so that's pretty much the biggest the gap's been all race, and this time it's in favour of Filsell, so... Muggleton is able to brake a lot deeper though, but doesn't quite get the exit speed, so 5 to go.
Yeah, he's probably having to slow the car down more at the apex. As you said, it's very similar to how Rogers drives as well. Slows the car up a lot at the apex. I'm actually hearing Dane Warren's had an issue again. Him and his late race issues.
He's just disappeared. That's an internet or software or hardware drama there.
His quality's dropping all the way down to around 30 at the moment.
Yeah, that's internet related, so hopefully we don't see him go. The ping's fine, but it's that quality that's the killer.
So just do a quick run through the top 10 now. It's sort of shaking out a little bit. So Phil Self from Muggleton and Hamilton's your podium. Darren Marsh is a couple of seconds off Hamilton. Then Brett Canazzi is the top 5. But he's got Vale Ritchie's for company in 6th. Michael Healy, Jay Boving are 7th and 8th. 9th, Tim Harrison. Rounding out your 10 is Matt Morris.
And we've lost Dayan Warren, so the bad luck continues for him.
Yeah, he's officially dropped. He's done a Josh Rogers. Must be something with All-Star drivers or former All-Star drivers as well. Your internet must be a prerequisite to join and have bad internet.
Looking a little bit further back, this battle is still going with these guys. Slightly different roster to what it was before, but still being led by Christian Hinton in 19th. Gene Finney's there. This is the battered, car battle.
Bruised, and yeah, the bent car brigade. Oh, there's not a single straight panel in this 4-car fight either.
To be fair, I think Gene's car, the rear end's looking alright, but we know he centre punched a car.
Well, Louise is doing some mowing and Gene followed him.
Look at
Louise is gone. That rear end just slid the whole way through the corner.
Speedway style through there.
Dirt's not out yet, Louise. You can't drift efficiently yet.
I think the camber was the only thing that kept him on the road there.
He's going to lose a spot to... Oh,
He's
boy, shut the door.
Deep again.
This battle for the lower positions is more exciting than the battle for the lead. They're fighting harder like it is for first place.
Look at Lewis.
He's gone. He's gone again.
He's caught it that time. But it's going to lose him the position.
Now, I said Phil Cell might clear out a bit, but I was mistaken. There is nothing between Phil Cell and Muggleton at the moment.
This is literally the rubber banding effect we speak about that always seems to happen with these two. Oh, Muggo's going to always have an overlap here. Phil Cell a little wide.
Just drive underneath him. He hasn't quite got the exit though. That high line is slightly helped Phil Cell. Phil Cell doesn't go defensive. Muggleton to the right, pulls back in line.
Getting up
across
in the mirrors.
line, it will be 3 to go.
Of course, Jared for the first time this race is not going to have a car in front of him, so the balance of his car is going to feel completely different now to how it has been all race. Going to have a little bit more front grip, and obviously the result of that is it's going to feel a little bit looser in the rear, but a bit of a mistake from Muggleton in the penultimate corner there has allowed Phil Cell to get away a little bit. We're going to have 3 to go this time.
Muggleton just looks like he's driving the car harder, trying to find that limit and using every ounce of talent he's got to extract some speed.
Nothing in the lap times.
He's sliding it on the 8. Yeah, 51 dead for both of them.
Literally 9 1,000ths in favour of Muggo, so nothing at all.
Phil Cell, as we mentioned earlier, Jake, looks a lot better through this section of the lap, up through to the bus stop. And once you sort of get out of the bus stop, it's when Muggleton looks a lot stronger. And the last 2 corners is when Phil Cell has the ascendancy again.
I do believe these guys are running different setups, so maybe, I could find out, but I'd say probably a little bit more aero on that rear wing for Muggo.
I'd like to also see the incident count, because watching these guys through the bus stop, they're probably getting a 1x every time.
I'm sure both of them are trying to keep it under 15 though, because they are obviously thinking about changing points.
Muggleton was quite wide. He was out on the marbles, then tried to get on the power.
Yeah, you saw then Muggo doing that triangle style line I was talking about earlier, and the result of that is at the apex, at the center point of the corner, you've got to use a lot more lock, and then you get a little bit of that understeer induced oversteer that we talk about, and that's what happened with Muggo there. That could be the deal breaker. Could just given Jared enough of a gap.
We said that last time. Then we came back a lap later and they were close again, so not ruling anything out. I was looking Matt Morris, Ryan Harris. This is for the last spot in the top 10. And Greg Stewart's just loitering. No, it's not.
No, so I've got...
Well, yeah, it is. Matt Morris and Ryan Harris. There's Harrises and Morrises everywhere. It's confusing, and they're all in the same order. Goes Harris, Morris, Harris from 9th, 10th to 11th.
The points go throughout the whole field, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the race spot Super Cup that's only the top 10. That's my bad there, but yeah, so I'm still wanting to be getting a little bit more points, but it's always good to get a top 10.
So the gap for the lead is now out to a second. It's the biggest we've seen all race.
Yeah,
And it's 2 to go.
I don't mean to jinx it, but I'd say it's pretty much a done deal now for Phil Cell. There's not much racing left. Muggo will be kicking himself for that mistake.
Morris and Harris though, so Matt Morris and Ryan Harris, because these guys are, there's nothing between them as well. It's kind of like the battle for the leads being the last couple of laps. And Greg Stewart's just in there, in the picture for if one of them makes a mistake, he's able to pounce, and he's going to have Michael Hammond for company as well, and Hammond looks like he's got slightly more pace than Greg Stewart at the moment.
Oh, Morris is deep at 1.
Morris has been deep at 1 all race though.
He's been deep everywhere.
He uses all of the apron at turn 1.
He's actually got an insane apex speed. I don't know how he's doing it. It's sort of killing his exit a little bit, but Harris a little bit tighter up the hill. It's going to allow him to have a bit of a run. He's not going to be able to make a move out of it, but it will get him a bit closer.
Morris was running a weird line, sort of went middle of the road and moved it back to the left there. There was no real reason to go defensive, wasn't he, within range, so some mind games going on there.
Harris going for the wider entrance into the carousel. Losing him a little bit of time, I think.
Oh, now we're coming to the last lap, Jake, and the leaders are going to hit some lap traffic.
Oh, in the form of Cameron Dance, actually. It's going to be quite interesting, but...
So the worst spot for Phil Cell to catch him will be in the S's, because you can't jump out of the way there, and I think he's going to get away with it. The bus stop as well, you really want to wait until you get to the carousel, because then he can just go, he's actually No, he's letting him through. Yeah.
Yep. Good driving there by Cameron Dance. He knows it's the last lap and he knows it's on for the lead, but it's pretty much just Phil Cell needs to keep it on the black stuff and he should have the win.
Yeah, so white flag is now officially flying. Gary Hamilton looks pretty secure for 3rd place as well. He's got about 2 seconds over Darren Marsh. Kananzi's looking safe in 5th. So the real battle at the moment in the top 10 is between Matt Morris and Ryan Harris.
Also seen Lewis Gallon has decided to bring it into the lane with just a lap to go and has parked it.
Probably a wise move with the amount of spins and panels he's probably broken on that car.
Definitely been in the
Harris
wars
went
tonight.
very deep into 1, hoping to push Matt Morris through the corner there. He's very close, and Hammond's actually got a run as well. Michael Hammond's got a run, and Greg Stewart behind as well for 12th place.
I think we could be seeing 2 battles coming to the chicane here. Actually, a little bit wide from Hammond, so he's probably not going to be able to get Stewart. But Harris, however,
Morris goes defensive, but Harris actually has a great run through the S's.
Yeah, he's got it. Oh!
Matt Morris moved.
The apex there.
He moved it at the braking zone very late there. Just moved back middle of the road and threw off Harris.
Yeah, we'll take a look back up to our leaders. Jared Filsell sat patient all race. We thought he would. Pretty much spent 20 laps behind his teammate Josh Muggleton and then made the move when Muggo made a mistake. But he's going to round the last corner now. That Harrop Racing Porsche Carrera Cup car is going to take the win for Jared Filsell in round 4 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia Series, closely followed by Josh Muggleton. Take a quick look back to Morris and Harris. It doesn't look like anything's probably going to come of that.
There's still a few corners left, Jake. Anything can happen.
Yeah, Morris actually a little bit wide. There's only 3 corners left. Morris keeps it nice and tidy. It's all about keeping it on the black stuff.
It looks like he's going to be able to hold on to this top 10 position. Just don't run wide here and you're good.
Yep, so unless he runs out of fuel, which I don't think he will, it's going to be P10 for Matt Morris, 11 for Ryan Harris, and one of the drives of the night, kept it clean on his return, Greg Stewart in P12.
Just wait for the last couple of cars to cross the line. Tim Ballinger's the last one on the lead lap. He's just coming through with the toe of the boot. And then we'll run through. He's actually in a battle here with Guy Leach for 25th position, 24th, 25th. I don't think there's going to be anything resulting of this though. So coming through the exit of the boot. Valentino Rossi, otherwise known as Guy Leach, leading Tim Ballinger through the second and last corner.
Repping number 46 as well. And it's
Ballinger's drifting it.
Loves a good last corner drift, but that's going to be Guy Leach in 24th and Tim Ballinger across the line as our last car on the lead lap. So why don't we look through our results, Sam?
Yeah, Jake. So winner Jared Filsell, 2 rounds in a row now for him with Joshua Muggleton in second. Rounding out the podium, Gary Hamilton, a good drive there, sort of by himself for the whole race, but rounds out that podium strongly. Darren Marsh, Brett Cananzi, 4th and 5th. Vale Ritchie's 6th. Michael Healy in 7th. Jay Boving, 8th. Tim Harris, 9th. And rounding out your top 10 is Matthew Morris.
And over the page, you're going to have Ryan Harris, who tried so hard for that P10 but didn't quite do it, in 11th. Greg Stewart on return in 12th. Michael Hammond is going to be 13th. Ashley Lear, 14th. Paul Mansell, 15th. Simon Black in 16th. Stuart Hall, 17th. David Geelings, 18th. Christian Hinton, 19th. And Gary Dawkins rounding out the 20.
You got Gene Feeds in 21st. Brady Mice, 22nd. 23rd to Jared Tyman. Guy Leach and Tim Ballinger, 24th, 25th. And then Cameron Dance, 1 lap down. And then we've got the did not finishes: Louise Gallen, Dane Warren, Jason Bentz, Mark Peter Dean, Brian Borg and Aaron Osborne rounding out the 32 car field.
That's it, Sam, and I'm actually just taking a look over at our incident screen. Jared Filsell was close, 14 incidents, so just 1 below the number that pushes you over. My mistake, it is actually a 20 incident cap before penalty points start being given. So Filsell 14 and Muggleton 12, so both those guys safe. I believe the only cars who went over were Lewis Gallen, Brody Myers and Gary Dawkins.
Yeah, most of them involved in shunts as well, so that's pretty understandable. Relatively clean compared to when we saw them at Spa when they got 115 point penalties.
Yeah, Watkins is a bit easier for it, but that race done and dusted, Sam. Where are we off to next week?
Well, not next week. We're actually off to V8 Scops next week to Imola, but 2 weeks' time we'll be back with Carrera Cup Australia from Suzuka. That'll be a bit of an interesting circuit. They're very aero dependent in the first half of the lap and sort of just flat out stuff the last half. Not a circuit I particularly enjoy, but I think a couple of guys out there will enjoy that one.
Yeah, it's a busy couple of weeks for a lot of these guys because not only do we have V8 Scops next weekend, but on the same weekend as our next round of Porsche Carrera Cup will be the first round of the Blancpain GT World Championship Series that myself, along with many others, including Jared Filsell, Joshua Rogers, and many other guys will be participating in. So, big couple of weeks of sim racing coming up, but I think we should probably plug a couple of the things that we're going to be putting on in the next few nights. Obviously, do we have V8 Supercars returning tomorrow night? Yep, back to Circuit of the Americas West, one of the tracks in iRacing that the V8s have actually raced at. So that'll be nice and exciting. And then on Thursday night, we're going to, I think, probably one of the tracks that many of the truck drivers fear for the truck series, Martinsville. So
you might see me up for that. Love a bit of Martinsville.
We'll probably see Sam and a couple of the Aussies out there, but then, of course, on Sunday we're heading back for V8 Scops to Imola. So 3 broadcasts coming up in the next week for you guys to enjoy.
Yeah, we're pretty busy. I think every Sunday we're on and every Monday and Thursday at the moment, but that's been a good night tonight, Jake. I think we've got no one come to join us, so we might wrap it up here.
Yeah, we might do. That has been round 4 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia Series. Big thanks to everyone who tuned in and gave it a watch. This is Sam Sutton and Jake Burton, round 4 of Porsche Carrera Cup Australia. Your race winner, Jared Filsell.